Now we've got all our workings, we're going to start populating our dashboard. So at the moment it looks fairly blank, but just as a reminder, we want to get it looking something like this. So our overall wellness, each individual factor, and then our areas of soreness. So heading over to workings, what we're going to do is create some graphs and some charts. Now, I'm not as huge a fan of how much you can create in terms of charts and graphs on Google. It is getting better. You can have more options and more chart availability, but this is one area where it does fall short of the mark in comparison to Excel. That being said, there's still a lot you can do. So what we want to do for our overall wellness, I'm not just going to select this data here, because remember, it could be 50 rows, it could be one row, depending on what your dates are and how big the gap between them is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the whole of column E all the way over to column K. I don't need L because that's a very different data. It's not number data. So what we're going to do, insert chart. And it will pump out something quite generic, what it thinks might be the kind of chart you want to see. Obviously, not very much like what our final product is, but we're going to go around how to edit it, how to customize it. One thing I would say is that the charts is a huge area where I've spent a lot of time playing around to find what suits me. And I can give you the basics, but this is a little more up to you and how you interpret your data. So the basics overall, x-axis. At the moment, there's nothing there, but because I've selected all those columns, I can click and it gives me some options of what I might want. So I'm going to go timestamp because I know that's where all my dates are. And straight away, they all pop up here. I don't want any labels on any of the data, so I'm going to get rid of that. And this is all my series that are going to be the data inside the graph. So straight away, again, I know I can click on timestamp and remove that. So we're starting to get to something that looks a little more readable and understandable, with each of these bars representing one of our factors. What I'm going to do now is scroll up to the top and change the chart type to a stacked area chart. The reason I want to do this is because when you stack them together, Google will automatically add up all the scores on any given day and give you your total out of 25. Because that's the maximum it could be if they're scoring 5 for each one. Google's given you some space at the top and it's gone to 25. What this does is allow you to see each individual stressor or factor that you're looking at in terms of wellness, but also how they are overall. So I can look on this day and see overall we're really low. But I can also tell, okay, mood has dropped, but not as significantly as some of the others. And actually it's stress that's dropped the most. So the biggest factor that has caused this drop in overall wellness is my stress and my soreness, so to speak. So it can give you way more data, a way quicker overview to interpret all of your data in one go, rather than having to read all the different charts. Now, you can see as well, it's changed some of these dates down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go into Customize, head to Horizontal Axis, and put Treat Labels as Text. This is going to make sure every single date that is in column E shows up. Because if I don't treat them as text, it picks out the significant ones, but I want to see every single one. Okay, nice and simple. Now what I'm also going to do is head into Legend. I'm going to pop this at the bottom, just because that's how I prefer to read it. I'm also going to go on Chart Axis and Titles, and I'm going to change that to Overall Wellness. I'm going to go Horizontal Axis Title, and I'm going to put Date. And I'm not going to put a vertical axis on there, or not a title. You can decide whether you have these factors in there. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to have the word date. You don't have to have all of this information at the bottom. Now what I can do as well is if I want to change what any of these say, I can click, and instead of how is your mood, I'm just going to put mood. Instead of how is your sleep, I'm just going to put sleep, motivation, soreness, and stress. And that just cleans it up a little bit. You can see I've lost my help box here for the chart. If I do want to get back in, I simply double click. Now this is where you can start to have a play around with your chart style. I personally will always remove the border. You can change the theme of your fonts to gives you different text variations. Typically I use Verdana. Okay, so just have a little play around with your chart. Now, one strange thing, or can be a little bit annoying thing with Google, is that you can't cut and paste your chart onto another page. You can only copy it, and you can do this by clicking on it, click on the 3 arrows, and you can copy on it, or you can simply click on it, press Command C or Control C if you're on a Mac, go into your dashboard, Control V, Command V, or just edit and paste. So once it's in here, I can now drag it around and manipulate it as much as I want. If you do want to change anything else, you can still edit this one here, and it won't mess up the data on the other end. So I could now go on here. I'm going to go on grid lines. On that vertical axis, I'm going to remove those grid lines. On chart style, I'm also going to make it smooth. Okay, and I'm also might want to change the colors of these. So I'm going to go series. I want to apply to mood. I might want mood to be black. And then I'm going to go soreness. Put that as a red. Motivation. We can keep that as yellow. Sleep. I'm going to put that one as a blue maybe. And then stress. I'm going to put that one as a green. You can choose whatever colors. The reason I am changing these colors is because I'm going to make sure they correlate to the graphs that I put underneath. Okay. So I'm going to close that chart editor there. You will see now, as I jump back to my workings, the original chart is still there. You can either just pull that down out of the way, or if you delete it, that's fine. Your new one will still stay on that front page. So moving on to our individual charts. All I need to do is, again, I'm going to select all of that data, insert, chart. As before, I'm going to set the x-axis to timestamp. Okay, but this time, I'm going to remove all series. So at first it comes up with no date, but what I can do here is just click Add Series, and again, I get that drop-down menu with everything it thinks I might want to add. So here, I'm just going to add mood. Okay, nice and simple. I'm going to leave it as a column chart. I'm going to head over to Customize though, chart title, chart setup, sorry. I'm going to get rid of that border, set it to Verdana. Chart title wise, I'm just going to put mood. Okay. Then I'm also just going to go series, and I'm going to add a trend line, because that's going to show me where their mood is going over the however many weeks that have just been. Also important to remember, I'm just going to make sure that treat labels as text is ticked there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that chart, head over to dashboard, file or edit, sorry, I'm going to paste. Google now helps you line things up with our little snap to grids or guides, sorry. Now the reason I colored these is because I can see mood is black, so I'm going to just double click on my chart, head to series, and make sure that I fill it in black. That way it's nice and easy to see what chart relates to what. So there's your first chart. You can adjust the size of that however you want to. just be aware that as you make it bigger and smaller, it might affect the date. Okay, so it's up to you how much information you want to show. Perfect. Heading back to working, as you can see I still got this original chart. Now, instead of deleting it, what I'm going to do, go to my setup. Now, rather than redoing all of those formatting options, I'm simply going to click on mood and change it to sleep. And you'll see it keeps everything the same, but now I've got my sleep data. So I'm going to copy, dashboard, paste that, make sure it's the same size. Now all I have to do is double click, go to customize, make sure I change this to sleep, check what color I'm using, sleep blue, perfect, right result. So all I want you to do is go ahead and do that for motivation, soreness, and stress as well. Okay, so you should now have 5 different graphs that all show your different factors. If you want to check that they're right, you can check the dates. Okay, and then all I need to do is just go ahead and change one of those dates. Cool, there's only one factor put in, so it's absolutely fine. If I go long, we get loads of dates. Perfect. I'm going to leave that on the 15th, just so we've got a couple of data points, but not too many. So now we just have one more chart to do. So we're going to jump back to workings again. We can now delete this baseline one, and we're going to head over to our count range. Very nice and simple for this one. We can just select these numbers. There's not going to be any more options on this one, so we can just select any information here. Insert, chart, and straight away, it's exactly what I want. I personally find it easier to read if we flip it down on its side. This is real nice and simple. The further the bar is, the more times that area has come up on their wellness. So it shows what areas are particularly sore. Again, all of your options here are exactly the same. You've got your chart title, you've got your chart setup. So I'm going to take away the border. I'm going to set my theme to Vedana. Real easy. Chart title, sore areas of soreness. It should be pretty quick now. And then you can change the colors if you want. Last but not least, Command C, paste it into the sheet. And resize it to whatever it is I want it to be. So there we have all of our information, all of our select dates. Now we've just got a couple of other things that we can do to make this a little bit easier to read and a little bit more understandable and a bit more like a professional dashboard. So I've just gone ahead, right-clicked and inserted 2 new rows or 3 new rows. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight those rows, 2 rows and all their columns, and merge them together. This is where I'm going to put my title. So I'm going to put equals, inverted commas, and I'm going to put wellness dashboard, oh, I can't spell, 4. Finish it off with inverted commas. I'm going to put a space in there. Okay, I'm now going to write an and sign. I'm going to write upper. This is going to convert what I want into uppercase text. And I'm going to click in A1, close that off, press enter. And you can see I now have a nice title that combines the word, helps if I spell it right, Wellness Dashboard 4. And I'm just going to put that in the middle, increase the size. So whichever athlete I select, it should update the title as well as your charts. So I'm going to leave that athlete 8 start dates. And I'm just going to put these in bold so I know that they're what I'm wanting to select. And I'm just going to fill in this a little bit to make it more readable. Now the last few things I like to do, and this is why I took the borders off these graphs, is if I go to view, untick grid marks, It just becomes one nice clean sheet. The other great thing, Google, is if I select all of these columns that I haven't used, right click and delete, it will stop me scrolling any further. I can also do this at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is click on the first or the second empty one. Now, rather than having to drag and select all the way to the bottom of the page, I'm going to press Command and then Shift, or Control then Shift if you're on a Windows or a PC, and press the down button. That will take me to the very bottom of the page. Right click somewhere over here on the left and delete the rows. What this does is just mean the only information available on this page are those charts. So if I am sharing this with anyone, they can't see anything else. So there we have it, your finished dashboard, responsive to the dates, responsive to the athlete, okay, and hopefully nice and understandable. Like I said, you can download the finished version in the link just below this video, and you can use that to either follow along, get some help or some more information on the scores or what's showing up or the formulas. You can copy and paste all that wellness data, or you can just go ahead and start to customize the one that I've built. Any questions, feel free to drop me an email, direct message me on Instagram or anything like that. But yeah, enjoy, and hopefully this made things a little bit more understandable and easy for you to access on these Google Sheets.